Exactly 1 week ago, I made a video on the 5 favourite things I have about owning a BMW M4 and the 5 reasons why you should buy one. And that's not all. Before that, I made a full YouTube video on why the M4 is the best bang for buck sports car out there, the best value you can get when it comes to a sports car. And I gave it a total score of, gives it an amazing total score of 27 out of 30. So there's no denying I love my M4, but it's not all sunshines and rainbows when it comes to owning a car like this. And today we're doing the opposite, the 5 things I actually hate about owning my dream BMW M4. Coming from an M4 and BMW Glazer, how much I love this car, there still are 5 things I hate about owning it. Now keep in mind, I'm not going to be talking about oil leaks and stuff like that, because it is a BMW, but I'll be talking about the 5 things you experience on the daily driving and owning the car that might drive you a little bit insane, because they do to me also. So yeah, let's get into the 5 things I hate, as much as it hurts me to make this video. Quick little disclaimer, I filmed in this location before, my social media video. I don't really like reusing the exact same spot, but I was left with no choice because it's meant to be a nice day in Melbourne, but as we can see, it's, dark clouds, more clouds, more clouds, and it's been raining all throughout the morning, and I've got a little gap. And I was going to go to the beach, but I needed some cover of some sorts if it started raining. But anyways, let's get into it. My first point in last week's video was outside the car, how beautiful it looks. And well, that hasn't changed, but we're going to start inside the car on my first pet peeve about owning it. So the first thing that I dislike about owning my baby, my beautiful M4, is this transmission here. Before I get the 4 million comments on why this is such a good transmission, it's a DCT, it's so fast, it's so aggressive, it is a great transmission. I literally mentioned it in the 5 things I love video about how responsive it is and how fun it is to use. To defend its case, before I start slandering it, this transmission here will change gears in 40 milliseconds. The average human to change gears takes around 500 milliseconds. So a huge difference, under 1/10 of the time. And that's really important when it comes to a turbo car, because it gives less time for the turbo to spool down before changing into the next gear, meaning you have more boost, more pressure, and the car keeps going faster. It sounds like I'm making a 6th point on why I love the car. Well, let's get into the bad part about this. When you put the car in sports mode, or your M2 mode, or however you want to configure it, when it's in the highest sports mode, this transmission is incredibly jerky unless you got your foot down. You pretty much can either be 100% or 0%. If you're low revs and just accelerating lightly, the whole car will start jerking back and forward very aggressively. Feels like the car's going to stall. I'll put on the screen an example of me at the drag strip, it doing it to me. Literally looks like I'm tapping the accelerator, making the car jump. But why does the car do this? Well, this transmission is more of a robotized manual than your regular torque converter automatic gearbox. So it actually relates more to a manual gearbox than an automatic. Now, you purists, I'm not calling it a manual, it's all right. I know, it's not a proper manual, but it relates more to that than an automatic one. A key example of this is when you're in drive and you take your foot off the accelerator standing still. In a normal automatic, the car will start creeping forward nice and easily. Whereas this, it doesn't do that. You take your foot off the accelerator, it's either not going to move at all or it's going to slightly roll back or forward, as in like a manual car, when you leave the clutch in, it's going to roll back and forward. So it's definitely a surprise if you're not expecting that or used to a regular transmission. Even the new M3s and M4s have gone back to the ZF style transmission where it doesn't do the same as this DCT. The good thing of these BMWs is there's a solution for a lot of these things, and you can actually get a tune which will affect it, so it's not as jerky and aggressive, but it still keeps obviously all the performance. All right, we've made fun of the car's transmission enough. Now we can get out and talk about the next thing. Well, no, we're not done. We're going to keep beating this dead horse, and the next problem is again with the DCT transmission. So the first problem was how jerky this can be. What else is wrong with it? So let's make this interactive. We're going to play a little game, like a game show, and I want you guys to point out what's wrong with this transmission. Now, if you know about them, obviously you can't really play, but if you don't, let's play this game. So I turn the car on. Obviously we're in park at the moment. The car's parked and we're sitting here in park. All right, let's say I want to go into reverse. So as you can see, you go left and up. There we go. Oh, my sensors. I'm in reverse now. If I go down, I'm in neutral. I go across, now I'm in drive. All right, that's pretty straightforward. If I press it again, now I'm in manual mode. You see these light up, so I can change gears myself. All right, now let's get out of the car. Let me just put it in park. Hold on. Is there a park button? How do you put this in park now? Unlike your regular BMW where there's a park button, or even in the new G82 M4, the newer car, there's a park button. These ones don't have a park button, so how do you put it in park? Well, after owning the car long enough, you realise there's 2 ways to do it. The first one is you leave the car in neutral, like a manual car, and you have to tap the button, the off button, once, it'll turn off the ignition, and again we'll put it in park. The other way to do it, which most BMW owners do it, when you're in drive or reverse, you get to where you are, you're in drive, and it feels weird to do it, but same thing, you just press the off button, and the car automatically goes into park. If you're a car enthusiast, obviously you own the car, you'd get used to this pretty easily. Obviously you just leave it in drive, press off, and turns off like normal. Only problem is when you have to get someone else to drive your car for whatever reason, you have to sound like a nerd explaining it for 15 minutes, yapping away about why it does that and how to do it and all that. To give you a real world example, it's not just me being ridiculous, is, well, I went off for a holiday in America last year. In the middle of the year, just before I left, a few days before, I dropped this car off to my friend who wrapped the car. He said he'd wrap it while I'm gone, and if he's done before I'm back, he's just gonna take his time. He'll let me know and I'll get someone to come pick up the car. And 2 weeks in, car was ready. I was living the dream out in actually Texas by coincidence, having a great time, and well, he needed the car out of his garage. So I was thinking, who can I call to pick up the car? I was with my girlfriend at the time. Her dad lives nearby. Hey, can you go pick up the car for me? Well, after explaining on the phone to him for 15 minutes and sending him 2 YouTube videos and a tutorial on how to use a transmission, he finally understood how to use it. So instead of a normal car where you pick it up, put it in drive, get back, park, it took longer to explain how to put in park than him actually going, picking up the car and bringing it back. So that's why we're not filming outside today. So that's where the problem arises. If anyone's ever riding in the car that isn't you and you're not in the car, good luck, because they'll probably be calling you, asking you a million questions on why won't the car go in park, it's staying on. This third point I don't necessarily have an issue with, but I can see why it can be a big issue. And on these pre-facelift M4s, well, the torque curve was quite different to the ones in the competition and newer cars. These S55 engines are a 3-litre twin turbo, and from factory, they came with 550 Newton meters of torque, which for a 3-litre 6-cylinder is quite a lot. And especially considering with the tuning and mods I mentioned in the last video, you can get to over 700 Newton meters of torque. That is a lot of torque for a 3-litre motor. It's a very high amount. But the problem doesn't necessarily lie on how much torque the car has from factory, it's how it comes in. In the original M3 and M4, the torque is very low end. You can feel it at 3,000-4,000 revs, and it kicks hard like a horse. When that torque kicks in and you don't have traction fully on, the back end is dancing everywhere, and you have to be a good driver to hold it in a straight line. And that means a lot of these pre-facelift cars have been written off or totaled because people just don't expect it. They're in a turn, they start accelerating, and bang, full torque, and you're sideways and not where you want to be. But this has been fixed in the competition and newer models of the car. In this model, it's just very jagged. It's just low, 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 and then the torque just kicks in. Whereas in the facelifts and the competitions, it's more of a linear increase. Even though it's more torque and more powerful, it's actually more controllable than the older one. If you know me, you know I love rear-wheel drive cars that love to kick out and you're fighting them, so that's exactly what I want. But if you're inexperienced or you're not expecting it and you don't really know the car, it can end tragically for you and the car's sake. For point number 4, we're back inside the car, and it's this thing right here. The NBT iDrive system that originally came out in these M4s and M3s, well, it's quite slow and annoying. In the LCI and the LCI2, it's got a newer system, which is great. You can get CarPlay and all these things. It's very easy to use. Whereas my one, it's very annoying. And every time I drive the car, it annoys me when I use it. So generally speaking, the system is quite slow. It is 10 years old to be fair, but still, every time you select things, it is a bit delayed. As you can see at the moment, my navigation just doesn't want to work. It's grayed out. I can't click on it. I don't know why, it just won't work. If I go to my music, for example, so here I'm listening to I Know by Travis Scott. I can't play it, otherwise get copyrighted. As you can see, I'm playing that, all right? Now, let's say I want to skip the song. So I skip forward, next song, My Eyes. It didn't change. All right, next song, let's go here. Who, what? Still hasn't changed. Even if I do it here on the system, all right, I change a song. Nothing, nothing. It's saying All About You by Snoop Dogg. That's not the song that's playing. I can't show you because of the rain, but same thing on the heads-up display. When I go to change songs, it's just showing random songs in my Apple Music, not what I'm listening to at the moment, even though that's obviously not what I'm listening to at the moment. It's not I Know by Travis Scott. You might have noticed as well, I'm listening to my music via the cable because the Bluetooth just drops out at times. It just doesn't want to connect, doesn't work. So I always just use the cable now because the cable always works, but Bluetooth, even in a phone call, it'll just drop out midway through for no reason. So it can be a bit frustrating. Good thing it's not the daily driver, because if it was, that would really get on my nerves. So I'm sure it was a great system for a decade ago, or 11 years now ago, but in today's day and age, when you've got all these cars with CarPlay and different systems and all that, it's a bit outdated. I know you can update it and put a CarPlay module in it, but it's not just a download. You actually have to start taking apart the dash to access the system itself, which I don't really want to do. So it's annoying and it can get on your nerves. We had to take a little break because it was absolutely pouring rain, as we can see, so the car got a nice little wash. But the final point, which is being very nitpicky about me, and I definitely noticed it once I changed these wheels, is look, the brakes are amazing. They stop you very fast and they do their job perfectly. Problem is, a lot of brake dust, well, it comes off of these brakes. I'll get it up close for you guys, but it gets very dirty. So even if you spend 30 minutes cleaning your wheels, making sure they look perfect, it doesn't matter, because literally 30 minutes into a drive, they're gonna be covered in brake dust. So it doesn't really do that much cleaning your wheels. Yes, you wanna clean them to make them look presentable, but they just get dirty straight away. I know I picked some very dirt attracting wheels with the multi-spokes, and as you can see, look at the dirt just coming off of this thing, disgusting. Keep in mind, I cleaned the car probably about a week ago and I've driven it once since then. So yeah, let me just clean my hand a little bit. Disgusting. Now, yes, these are the competition wheels and they get a lot more dirty, but they are still genuine, regular BMW wheels. It's not like I got aftermarket 1 million spoke wheels which attract all the dust. No, they're regular BMW wheels. It was a lot better when I had the black wheels on it instead of these, but these look a lot better, but the maintenance, it goes up a lot when it comes to a car like this. And I had the same problem with my A45. The brake dust was horrible, but this is just a key example of you can't keep the wheels clean if you want to go and drive the car properly. Those are the 5 things which I don't like necessarily about owning this car, but it doesn't really talk about the ownership experience in regards to reliability and etc. So I will make a full video on my 1 year in ownership review of owning a tuned BMW M4. The goods, the bads, the uglies, the oil leaks, etc. All in all, these are all really minor and nitpicky things. I hope it didn't scare you away from buying one, because the car itself is still an amazing car. These are just some of the things that annoy me when it comes to owning one. I want to thank you for watching another Performance Nick video on the 5 things I hate about this car. Put in the comments, what do you hate about it? Apart from its owner, its looks, and its unreliability. Well, apart from that, let me know in the comments what you don't like about the car. I'll see you next Tuesday for next week's video, and I promise it will be in a better environment than this one, in the thunderstorm and the rain and the cold. It will be a little bit nicer, I promise. Let me know what other videos you want to see. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. We're breaking all types of records in 2025 on this channel. So, I'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.